Hello, my lovely people of angels of happiness. Hope all you guys are having a great Thursday and a great Friday Eve as well, guys. I am so excited that tomorrow is Friday and that we are on a Friday Eve. Just to know that tomorrow is Friday, and then after that, the weekend is just such a blessing in disguise. And so I am pumped up that I can say that tomorrow is Friday. But anywho, that is not what we're going to be talking about in this episode. I do want to apologize first, guys, on not doing an episode yesterday. I was supposed to do an episode to continue my mental health, behavioral health hospitalization, and I forgot to do it yesterday. So we're going to do that in this episode. So basically, guys, this episode I'm going to be talking mainly about two things. Number one, I'm going to talk about what the rules and your consequences if you break the rules in a behavioral mental hospital. And then I'm going to talk about why I was in there. So when I get to that point, it will be a trigger warning, and I will make sure to announce that before we go into it. But let's just get right down to business, guys, and discuss what happens if you break a rule in a behavioral mental hospital. Okay, I'm going to start off with being a juvenile or adolescent. Basically, guys, if you are a juvenile or adolescent in a behavioral mental hospital, guys, breaking a rule can be costly, okay? I want to start off by saying, number one, depending on what rule you broke, the severity of it will depend on the punishment or consequence. Okay, so as a juvenile, guys, or a adolescent, it is very, very important to know, guys, that like I also said the other day, you guys have to go to group, okay? And if you are being disrespectful in group, or you just refuse to go to group for any sort of reason, that is a rule that you have broken, okay? As if you are under the age of 18 in the United States, by law, you are required when you are in a behavioral mental hospital to go to group, every single one. The only time you can be excused is if you are meeting with the nurse, your doctor, or your caseworker. But even if you meet with those three people, it will not take 45 minutes, okay? Group is 45 minutes. And they usually, don't pull you out of group unless it is a big reason, all right? So yeah, as a juvenile adolescent, being rude in group to get kicked out or refusing to go to group will result in a consequence. It could result in a loss of a phone privilege. It can result in loss of media, which is like TV and all that. It can result in a loss of visitation, but that would have to be a major rule you broke. They tried to never take that away from any patient unless it was like very, very severe. So that is one, okay? Another rule is like if you disrespect staff, okay? Now, disrespecting staff or another patient, whether you are on the adolescent unit or the adult unit, is a huge, big consequence, okay? That can result in loss of visitation. That could be loss of a phone privilege, loss of all media, and all that, and that could go on to a week. I mean, basically the one or two things you don't want to do is disrespect staff or another patient, okay? They take respect extremely seriously in these facilities, okay? You don't have to get along with staff or other patients, but you need to give them the utmost respect. Okay, I have seen patients get kicked out of facilities with my own eyes because of one of those two things. So respect is very big and all that. When you disrespect another patient, not only are you breaking a huge rule, but also none of the other patients are going to want to be nice to you and all that, and it causes tension. And since you broke the rule, bang, you're out and booted. So, and that is a rule that can also get you kicked out as well, especially if you disrespect staff, because that's a big no-no. They will absolutely not tolerate that whatsoever. All right. So, yeah, there you guys go. Another one, guys, I would say is cussing. Now, I'm gonna call this foul language. All right, and the thing is that we all cuss. Okay, I think really anytime you use like the B word, the F word, those are ones that are more going to be a consequence. If you say damn it or you're like shit and all of that, you may get warned, but depending on what happened, they may give you leeway. If you dropped your tray of food and you said damn it or shit, they'll cut you a break on that. But yeah, language is very big in there. They do not allow foul language. The staff do not cuss. The staff can get in trouble for actually literally cussing. It sounds a little silly, but they're not allowed to cuss as well. So, yeah, no foul language, okay? Anytime, though, you use the F word and the B word, you will get called out on it. It doesn't mean you will get a consequence. If it was just your first time, they'll give you that one warning, but if you're multiple time doing it, it can result in you privileges being lost and all of that. So, yeah. So definitely, but so now I got asked this by my girlfriend. Actually, she wanted me to address this. If you are like, how can you be kicked out of group? All right, and this goes for adolescent and adult. The easiest way, guys, to literally get booted out of group is pure disrespect, okay? If you're interrupting another patient or the group leader, or you're just being obnoxious, yeah, you're going to get booted out, all right? And so what would that mean? That would mean as a adolescent or juvenile, you would be sent to your room for the remaining of group, okay? So like if you got kicked out of group when there was 45 minutes left, which group is 45 minutes, then you would have to stay in your room and not come out for the remaining of that group, all right? As an adult, you don't get sent to your room. You get kicked out, but you can walk the unit, do whatever you need to do. They're not going to send you to your room and all that. But I have seen it happen as an adolescent and as an adult, guys. I've seen it more on the juvenile side when I was in as a juvenile or adolescent. And yeah, so but that is about it that I have and all that. Oh, actually, no. Okay. So someone also said, what happens when there's fighting, okay, and all that. Well, here's the caveat, guys, okay? If someone comes up and throws a punch at you and you respond by defending yourself, you will get in trouble as well. And a matter of fact, you will get in the exact same amount of trouble as the other individual. So if the other individual got booted out for fighting, even though you were just defending yourself, you'll get booted out as well. If there is any physical fighting, that can lead to being kicked out of the facility. That can also lead to you getting faced with charges on battery, assault, whatever, if the hospital wants to press charges. And you can also get sent to another unit as well. If it is a physical fight where punches were thrown, it could result mainly in getting kicked out or facing charges, or both. So there you guys got that. So now, guys, I'm going to share with you guys why I was in the behavioral mental hospital. And I'm going to say that this is going to be a trigger warning. So if you don't want, I don't want my words to cause feelings on you guys. So just giving you guys an update, but and a little warning on that. Okay, guys, so the first time I ever really got admitted to a behavioral mental hospital, I was a sophomore in high school, so that was the 2013-2014 school year. I got bullied pretty intensively. I literally got told by other students that, hey, you need to go kill yourself, blah, blah, blah. You know, stuff that really nobody should even be told. It doesn't matter what kind of human being on the planet it is, but something they should never be told, like, at all, you know. That's why I say kids say the meanest things. And, well, there's a great example of that. But, so yeah, that hospitalization, I ended up being hospitalized for mental health 4 times that school year. And I got to be very honest with you guys. It was very tough. Being in there and being away from my mom, my pets, and all that, and my girlfriend, who's my ex. And really just, the one thing I could definitely say is there was so much of, there was a lot of things I couldn't control. Like, I couldn't control my time there, my stay, how long I would be there, I ended up spending 25 days, actually, one of those 4 times. And people always ask me, like, how could you survive 25 days? Well, the easiest way to explain it is I adapted. And I made an adjustment to the environment I was in. And, it sounds silly, but when you actually are able to do that, it goes a whole lot easier, okay? I actually was someone that would be up at 6:30 in the morning every single day. Breakfast was at 7, but I didn't change my routine. Okay, when I was going to high school, I got up at 6:30 every morning. And so that, I never changed my routine, and it made it a whole lot easier. But having to go to school and actually work on my mental health and be in a facility, all 3 things at once was not even close to being easy, And there was a lot of work, I had to do my schoolwork. I had daily assignments for my social worker and doctor. Really, I think the toughest thing was at the end of the day when I had a phone call with my mom or a visitation. My mom would always ask, and that was just something I didn't want to talk about. I really, it's kind of like I had I finally had to tell her that, like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to be discussing my group therapy with you, because I'm always getting work. But so people, said, well, you must have had no time for free time. And I didn't have a lot of free time. I took my work very seriously, but also I was over compensating. I was overthinking everything. I was like playing strategy on how I'm going to get through the day. And I had to learn that, to live in the moment, not live in the future. I would wake up and bippity boppity boo be thinking about morning group when it's not even breakfast time yet, and morning group's not until 9 o'clock. So, I had to adjust to that. I had to learn that, live in the moment and not worry about anything later down the road. So, but people asked me, you were in for self-harm and suicide. How did you cope with that? Well, not easy. Is that Wrigley? Yeah. Oh, that's you. I thought that was Wrigley. But yeah, guys, definitely not an easy thing to go through and all that. The best thing I could say about it was obviously that I got through it. I got past it and everything. I think the most difficult thing actually through all that experience was going back to school. Actually, when I got released, I was mandated to not return to school for at least a week. So that was definitely not a fun thing, not an easy thing at all. But you know what, guys? I adjusted. I did my work. I did what I had to do. I did a lot of work that I did not want to do, and a lot of work that at the time I thought was pointless and stupid and retarded. And I look back at it now, all these years later, and all that work, guys, is super duper important. I mean, I had to write down goals for the day. I had to write down a plan when I got released. I had to write down a plan when I went back to school. And, stuff that when you're in high school, you're really this is pointless, but it's really, really important. And, I had the best support. I had my mom, my whole family, my grandma visited me, and my ex as well. She really worried a lot about me, and she went through a tough time dealing with it, and she embraced it. She was right by my side. And long story short, we had to break up at graduation because we went our own separate ways. But guys, being in for what I was in for is not easy. I would actually say no matter what you're in there for, ain't easy. It's a brutal process. I had roommates that were in the CAST program, which is Clean and Sober Teens. It's a program on drug, alcohol, and alcohol rehab for anybody who's a juvenile or a adolescent. So it's pretty big. But that's a long program for them. That's 90 days they have to do. And when I got told the amount of work they do, oh my Lord, I don't even know how they could do it. So yeah, that was my juvenile stuff. But going into my adult one was 1,000% different, actually. And if you guys know my story from last year, you will probably already know it. But I'm gonna get into my adult one, guys. Again, it's a totally different scenario that happened. All right, guys, so my adult one, again, was way different. I actually got, the only way I could describe it was paranoia and delusional. When I was an adult, as early adult, I started thinking like people were out to get me. I literally did not trust my own family, nor my own mom. I forgot who my family was. There was people I'm extremely close with on my YouTube team that I was freaking out. In a matter of fact, guys, I was sitting with one of my members on my team, YouTube team, and we had to stop the meeting apparently because I had a nervous breakdown. So hold on, let me let Rocky out. So yeah, that was a different process I had to go through. Obviously not easy as well. I was very limited contact with my mom while I was in the facility, only because of the delusion or paranoia. But and I had to get a medication adjustment too, which is actually very common in these places. You know, they do not they take this stuff very seriously, but. You know, guys, I want you guys to just understand that it doesn't, if you go in these facilities, it makes you human. It doesn't make you creepy, odd, weird. It makes you, at the end of the day, a human being. And I want to point that out tremendously, okay? There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be afraid of, you know? And I had to be reminded of that, you know, me. Yours truly had to be. So I just want you guys to know that, you know, the fight, the battle, the grind, it's worth it at the end of the day, you know. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You have to remember that. When you're in your lowest of lows, you just got to remind yourself that you're going to get through it, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, these facilities are not fun whatsoever. They're not meant to be a day spa. They're meant to be a hospital for you to go in, get the help you need, and get out ASAP. So, but yeah, so, you know, I think it's a good place to stop the video there, guys. I think in our next topic, I will talk about some of the unique story, the unique experiences I had. Yeah, unique experiences would be a great word. We'll talk about that in our next episode. But if you enjoyed the video, let me know what you guys thought of it. And yeah, I will have some unique stories that I saw in tomorrow's episode.